Ever heard of an empire so rich it could cause an entire country's economy to crash just by passing through? No, I'm not talking about a fictional kingdom from a movie. I'm talking about the very real, very powerful Mali Empire of West Africa. Forget what you think you know about medieval history, because today, you're uncovering the incredible story of how this African empire didn't just participate in the global economy, it dominated it. This is the story of immense wealth, intellectual power, and a trade network that stretched across continents. Let's start with the most dazzling part, gold. In the 14th century, it's estimated that the Mali Empire controlled almost two-thirds of the world's entire gold supply. This wasn't just a little bit of gold, it was a staggering amount. The mines of Bambouk, Ur, and Galam were legendary, producing gold so pure and plentiful that it became the engine of Mali's economy. But here's the genius part. The emperors, known as Mansa, didn't just dig it up and sell it. They were masters of economic strategy. They declared all large gold nuggets the property of the state, allowing only gold dust to be traded freely. This simple rule created a controlled market, preventing inflation within their borders and ensuring the empire's treasury was always overflowing. This immense wealth wasn't just kept in vaults, it was used to build a powerful army, magnificent cities, and fund incredible projects. Of course, this gold needed to go somewhere, and that's where Mali's sophisticated trade network comes in. Imagine a superhighway of commerce, not of asphalt, but of sand. The trans-Saharan trade routes were the lifeblood of West Africa, and Malian merchants were the masters of these routes. Camel caravans, sometimes thousands strong, trekked across the vast desert, carrying not just gold, but also salt, which was just as valuable. In fact, in some parts of the empire, salt was literally worth its weight in gold. These caravans connected Mali to the bustling markets of North Africa, the Middle East, and even Europe. Goods from Venice and Genoa found their way to Timbuktu, while West African gold ended up in the mints of European kingdoms, funding their wars and building their cathedrals. This wasn't just regional trade, it was a global exchange. The prices of goods in Cairo and Fez were directly influenced by the flow of gold from Mali. This African empire was shaping international finance long before Wall Street ever existed. Now, let's talk about the most famous emperor of Mali, Mansa Musa. His legendary Hajj, or pilgrimage to Mecca, in 1324 is one of the most spectacular displays of wealth in human history. He didn't travel light. His entourage consisted of tens of thousands of people, and hundreds of camels, each carrying bags of pure gold. As he traveled through cities like Cairo, he gave away so much gold to the poor and to local leaders that he single-handedly caused the price of gold to plummet. The local economy was thrown into chaos, and it took over a decade for it to recover. Think about that for a second. One man's generosity was so immense it could destabilize the economy of a major foreign power. This event put Mali and its incredible wealth on the world map, quite literally. European cartographers began drawing Mansa Musa on their maps, depicting him as a king holding a giant gold nugget. But the Mali Empire's power wasn't just built on gold. It was also a beacon of knowledge and intellectualism. While much of Europe was in what's often called the Dark Ages, cities like Timbuktu, Jen, and Gao were thriving centers of learning. Mansa Musa, upon his return from Mecca, brought back with him scholars, architects, and poets from across the Islamic world. He invested heavily in education, establishing universities and libraries that attracted the brightest minds from across Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. The University of Sankore in Timbuktu became particularly famous, housing an estimated 400,000 to 700,000 manuscripts. Scholars there didn't just study religion, they studied astronomy, mathematics, medicine, law, and philosophy. Students and professors debated complex ideas and wrote groundbreaking texts. Timbuktu wasn't just a dusty trading post in the desert, it was the Oxford or Harvard of its time, a vibrant intellectual hub where knowledge was as prized as gold. The wealth from trade directly funded this academic golden age, creating a society that valued both commercial and intellectual pursuits. So, what were the core economic strategies that made Mali so successful? First, State control over key resources, especially gold, by managing the supply. They controlled the price. Second, taxation. All goods passing through the empire were taxed, creating a steady stream of revenue. From the salt coming into the gold going out, the Mansa got his cut. This was a sophisticated system of import-export duties. Third, investing in infrastructure. The empire ensured the trade routes were safe. They established secure rest stops and wells across the Sahara, which made the perilous journey more manageable and encouraged more trade. It's like building and securing the interstate highway system to boost your country's economy. Finally, they invested in their people and their culture. By funding education and the arts, they created a stable, sophisticated society that people wanted to be a part of and trade with. It was a holistic approach to building an empire, where economic strength and cultural richness went hand in hand. The influence of Mali's economy was truly global. The gold from West Africa fueled the European Renaissance. It provided the currency that allowed Italian city-states to patronize the arts and sciences. When you look at the paintings of Renaissance masters, there's a good chance the gold leaf used in them started its journey in a Malian mine. The political landscape of North Africa and the Middle East was also shaped by their relationship with this West African powerhouse. Mali wasn't a passive player on the world stage, it was a kingmaker, an economic giant whose decisions had ripple effects across continents. Its control over the gold supply gave it immense political leverage. So what happened to this incredible empire? Like all great empires, Mali eventually faced internal strife and external pressures. Succession disputes weakened the central authority, and smaller states on its periphery, like the Songhai, began to challenge its dominance. The trade routes also started to shift. As the Portuguese began exploring the West African coast in the 15th century, they established new sea routes for trade, bypassing the old trans-Saharan caravans. This diverted the flow of gold and other goods, slowly chipping away at the economic foundation of the empire. By the 16th century, the Mali Empire had lost control of its vast territory, and its golden age came to an end. But its legacy is undeniable. The story of the Mali Empire completely shatters the myth that Africa was isolated from the rest of the world before European colonization. It shows us a complex, powerful, and wealthy civilization that was a central player in the medieval world's economy. Mali's history is a testament to incredible economic planning, intellectual achievement, and global influence. It's a story of how an African empire's strategies for controlling resources, fostering trade, and investing in knowledge created one of the richest and most impressive societies on earth. The real economic history of the world is incomplete without understanding the Golden Empire of Mali. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the economics of the Mali Empire as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more hidden histories. Let me know in the comments what other historical economies you'd like to see us break down. See you next time.